CNN viewers, what's up? It's me, PFV. Yep, that's right. I'm live on camera right here, right now. When I was making the last JLin video, I told you guys that I am pretty familiar with Stanford University. And I just thought I'd tell you a little story about how that happened. And here it is. I lived out with JLin in Mountain View, California, which is right next to Palo Alto, California, in 2000 and 2001. I just graduated from Cornell, and John was doing his own business out there. So he and I lived together. If you know John and I, if you listen to us and you get to know us a little bit, you realize we're both pretty intense. Now, I seem much calmer than John does. John seems much more emotional than I do. But I'm also very intense. I don't talk about it as much. But I'm still pretty high strung. That's the way John and I are. That's what we've come from. That's how we ended up doing the things that we've done. Anyway, the reason I bring that up is because John and I, when I was living out there, really started to butt heads badly. And so I used to spend a lot of time at Stanford, which was only just a couple miles down the street. We lived right on the edge of Mountain View and Palo Alto. Palo Alto is where Stanford is. And so I used to spend more and more time at Stanford. In fact, I used to do a lot of my work at Stanford and actually in a Denny's restaurant that was in Palo Alto. So I got to know JLin's stomping grounds really well. And I know he spent a lot of time this summer working out in Stanford and working out the gym there. So here's the best part about that story. And like I said, I just got, again, John and I, we just had such a falling out at that point in time. That, I mean, I would spend nights overnight at Stanford. Like, I'd find like where they had libraries, where they'd have spaces that were open all night, and I'd just bring like a toothbrush and stuff and do there, and then go back to where John was in the middle of the day and all this stuff. It was just, we were at each other's throats pretty good. The funnest part about being at Stanford at that point in time, again, this is in 2001. This is spring of 2001, so it's that semester, I believe, if Stanford's on a semester system. I didn't get to meet her. I never really formally met her, but a person that I would see on campus constantly was Chelsea Clinton. And Chelsea Clinton, the daughter, of course, of President Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton. And this was very shortly after the period of time where Bill Clinton had left office. I mean, he left office in January of 2001. This was like, I don't know, April 2001 or something around those times. Chelsea was always surrounded, or was always joined, by at least 2 Secret Service agents. And the fun thing about the Secret Service agents is they tried to pretend they were students. So these guys would wear, like, they tried to wear, typical student gear, whatever it was. But of course they were Secret Service agents, because in the United States, the Secret Service, they protect the president, and they protect the family of the president, and they protect the family and the president of former presidents. And so Chelsea was always surrounded by these guys, and they tried to blend in, and of course it never worked. Everybody knew who they were. The thing I remember about Chelsea, and I saw her a lot, like in the library, and I would see her in a couple of these buildings where people would go and, you could go and work at night. They'd keep it open all night. When I was at Cornell, there were several buildings like that, and I would often work late at night when other people were sleeping, just because that just worked well for me. The thing that really impressed me about Chelsea Clinton was how hard she worked. She worked extremely hard. When I see her in the library, everybody wanted to talk to her, everybody wanted to be her friend, and she'd talk with people, but she kept long hours at the library. Now, because I was doing a lot of work, like John and I were working, and I would do work in the library. That's why I was in the library most of the time, and I'd use the computers and be on the internet and all this type of stuff. But Chelsea put in long hours at the library, and she was frequently at this overnight place. And there'd be maybe, I don't know, 10 or 15 other students there. But Chelsea would always be there, or very often she would be there. And she would be there with the 2 Secret Service agents. Now, here's another fun part of the story. Because I never met Chelsea, because I never talked with Chelsea, she didn't know who I was, but she knew that I was there on campus a lot. She knew that she saw me a lot. And she knew, I think she knew that I stayed there a lot of times overnight because John and I were fighting so much. So I know that over time, for me being there on Stanford's campus, she got to wondering, who is this guy? And I think at some point she thought I was like this nutty guy. You know, who is this dude? He's here all the time. I don't think anybody knows who he is. He's not a student, and of course I wasn't a student. But she saw me at the libraries all the time, and it looked like I was like staying overnights at Stanford, which is exactly what I was doing. So it came to be that, you know, I would see Chelsea around, and after I was there, this went on for, I don't know, 6 weeks, something like this. And she just had the, I know she thought I was nuts. It was just hilarious because I'd see her, and you know, it's I was like, I kind of like laughed to myself because I knew what was going on, and she had no idea what was going on with me. And it was just a fun period of time. So, like I said, that's how I came to know the Stanford campus so well. I've spent, John and I, both of us, grew up a lot in the Bay Area, particularly John. So I know that area well. But I had never been over on the, you know, the lower west side, basically, of the Bay Area. It's essentially where Palo Alto and Mountain View are. And so I said, I would go to Stanford, I'd go to the gym, I'd, you know, play basketball or you know, shoot around and stuff. And so that's the Stanford story. And again, so that's how I know JLin, the place where he's at right now. And I got to know Palo Alto well. I would hang out and go out in Palo Alto all the time. That's a whole different story. That's for a different video. But that's how I know Stanford University. And Chelsea, if you ever see this, I'm not crazy. I know you probably thought I was crazy at that period of time, but I actually got to see Bill Clinton here in Wilkes-Barre, northeast Pennsylvania, where I'm at right now. And when Mr. Clinton, when President Clinton was campaigning for Hillary Clinton, and at that point in time, I was actually a big supporter of Hillary Clinton, although I'm not as much politically oriented as I used to be. I did have the opportunity here in Wilkes-Barre to meet Chelsea Clinton because she spoke at one of the local universities, Wilkes University. Wilkes-Barre is kind of like an old industrial city that was built on coal mining and stuff. Now it's much more being built around the universities here and colleges. There's several colleges and universities in the area, King's College and Wilkes University being the 2 largest of those. And Chelsea came to speak at Wilkes University. So I could have gone and met her. I don't know what it was. I had something else I had to do that day or whatever. But if I had met her, I definitely would have tried to be like, hey, you remember that guy in the semester, you know, spring 2001 at Stanford? You thought he was, you know, you didn't know who it was. And he was always hanging out with the students who were working late at night or were doing their work. So that's my Stanford story. That's how I got to know where JLin is from in Palo Alto and how I can talk about Stanford University and how good it is, because I got to see all the facilities and how great of a university that place is. So JLin's got everything he needs in terms of working out and anything else he wants to do at Stanford University. That's it for now. Once again, I am PFV, Paul F. Villarreal, the NBA expert. Thanks a lot for watching Conservative New Media. As you guys know, we do strive to be the #1 JLin YouTube fan channel. Hope you enjoyed this. I will talk to you guys again soon.